Was Clive Davis the mastermind who set P. Diddy on a path that would ultimately lead to fame, fortune, and controversy? In today's video, we're pulling back the curtain on one of the most influential figures in the music industry, Clive Davis. Join us as we dive deep into the hidden dynamics and power plays behind the scenes, exposing how Clive's influence may have shaped P. Diddy into the controversial figure he is today. Clive Davis is an American record producer and music executive who has had a profound impact on the music landscape. Born in 1932, he's now in his 90s and has played a pivotal role in shaping the careers of numerous iconic artists, making him a significant player in the industry. Davis is no stranger to accolades. He has won 5 Grammy Awards and has been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, solidifying his legacy in the music world. His influence spans decades, and he's known for discovering and signing landmark musicians who have left indelible marks on popular music. In 2013, at the age of 80, Clive made headlines when he publicly came out as bisexual in his memoir. This was a significant moment, especially considering that not many individuals were openly discussing their sexuality at the time. Clive's revelation was particularly noteworthy given his extensive history in the music business, having been surrounded by some of the most talented musicians in the world. When asked why he waited until now to share this aspect of his life, he explained that his journey toward embracing his bisexuality began after his second marriage ended in the mid-1880s. It was then that he opened himself up to the possibility of relationships with men, alongside his previous relationships with women. Now, let's explore the connection between Clive Davis and Sean "Diddy" Combs. Back in the day, Diddy was just a vodka promoter trying to find his footing in the music industry. He didn't have a strong career at that point, but his ambitions led him to pursue a record label. It was during this time that he crossed paths with Clive, who was already a well-established figure in the industry. Diddy, at just 23 years old, managed to convince Clive to take hip-hop seriously, and impressively, Clive offered his support by funding Diddy's vision for Bad Boy Records. There's a growing speculation about the nature of the relationship between Sean "Diddy" Combs and Clive Davis, especially considering how rapidly Diddy's record label, Bad Boy Entertainment, skyrocketed to success. Some online commentators have suggested that Diddy was essentially handed the reins to his label by Clive, who is openly gay. While Clive identifies as bisexual, the dynamics of their relationship raise questions about the lengths Diddy may have gone to secure his position in the industry. This isn't an isolated incident. It reflects a broader narrative that suggests that some successful black men in entertainment and politics navigate a treacherous landscape to achieve their wealth and influence. As the saying goes, all that glitters is not gold, and in this case, one might wonder what price Diddy paid for his success. Many people believe that Diddy's behavior and approach to business are heavily influenced by Clive, suggesting that he was somewhat groomed to adopt this mindset. This leads us to the focus of this discussion, Sean Combs and his controversial reputation. There are serious allegations that he is using his influence in the music and entertainment industry for darker purposes, including trafficking. The troubling question arises: who exactly is involved in this alleged trafficking? Sources that I trust indicate that it might not be limited to any specific gender or age group. It appears to be a broader, more disturbing pattern. It seems that for Diddy, the issue of gender is secondary to his overwhelming desire for power and control. His narcissistic tendencies appear to drive him to manipulate those around him, which is likely rooted in his own experiences of victimization at the hands of powerful figures in his past. One notable figure in this narrative is Andre Harrell, who served as Diddy's mentor before his untimely death. It's important to understand the mentorship dynamics here. Clive Davis played a significant role in shaping both Diddy and Andre Harrell's careers. However, there's a lingering question about what transpired between Andre and Clive. Andre was once the president of Uptown Records, a position of great power, yet he lost his entire company to Diddy, who was merely his intern at the time. This stark reversal raises eyebrows and suggests that Diddy may have been favored by Clive in a way that Andre was not. Diddy has publicly honored Clive Davis over the years, demonstrating that they maintain a cordial and respectful relationship. At the 2019 Grammy Awards, Diddy expressed his gratitude, stating that Clive and Arista Records were pivotal in giving him a chance when he was launching Bad Boy Records. Clive was one of the first industry executives to truly believe in Diddy's vision, and Diddy has consistently acknowledged the significant impact that Clive had on his career. Diddy's choice to name his label Bad Boy was intentional. He wanted to signify a departure from the norm. He explained that to go against the grain often brings about a perception of being bad, but for him, it was about rejecting mediocrity. Clive was captivated by Diddy's ambitious vision and quickly decided to support him, taking Diddy under his wing. However, this mentorship has not been without its shadows. There are troubling rumors circulating about the nature of their relationship, particularly a claim from 1994 that Clive allegedly coerced Diddy into performing intimate acts as a condition of their professional mentorship. This disturbing dynamic raises questions about the power structures at play in their relationship. Some assert that Clive essentially ran Diddy, implying that Diddy did not wield power independently. The discourse surrounding Diddy has inevitably led to a greater scrutiny of Clive Davis as well. There's a common notion that individuals who perpetrate abuse often have themselves been victims of similar treatment. This cyclical pattern of harm suggests that behaviors are learned rather than inherent. If Diddy exhibits this kind of manipulation or abuse, one must wonder where he learned such tactics. The allegations about their relationship go beyond mere mentorship. Rumors suggest that Diddy and Clive may have engaged in a more intimate, potentially romantic relationship. It has been suggested that Diddy may have compromised himself in 1994 to secure his place in the music industry under Clive's influence, with some claiming that this is how Bad Boy Records came to be established. According to a recent report, Clive Davis has written a fascinating book spanning over 500 pages, filled with intriguing behind-the-scenes stories about some of the biggest names in music. The book includes wild anecdotes, such as Janis Joplin suggesting she perform a sexual act with him to finalize their deal, and John Lennon sharing insights about the creative process. Clive also addresses false accusations of embezzlement that derailed his career at CBS, alongside revealing some deeply personal aspects of his life. In the memoir, Clive opens up about coming out as bisexual, discussing the end of his 2 marriages, and reflecting on his sexuality in the final chapter. He mentions having had 2 male partners over the past 2 decades, one a doctor for 13 years and another for 7 years, though he chooses not to name the latter, keeping that person's identity private. This raises curiosity about who that might be. When asked why he doesn't disclose the names of his partners, Clive emphasizes that he is protecting their privacy rather than his own. He explains that he and his current partner share experiences similar to any other couple, attending industry events and traveling together, yet he prefers to keep his partner's identity a secret. Clive and Diddy have been spotted together at various events, and it seems likely that he is referring to the doctor in this context. However, it's intriguing to see how protective he is over the identity of his other partner. If he were to name a rapper, it would likely draw immediate speculation, perhaps hinting at someone like Christopher Williams. Interestingly, there's a belief that Clive has played a role in shaping Diddy's approach to the industry, particularly in how he interacts with younger, emerging artists. This dynamic can be seen in various cases, including Christopher Williams. Jaguar Wright has made some shocking allegations regarding a meeting between Diddy and singer Christopher Williams, which she claims involved a potential demo deal. According to Wright, an entertainment lawyer who was working with Bad Boy Entertainment at the time, she walked into Diddy's office to get approval on some paperwork, only to stumble upon an unexpected scene. As she entered, she was taken aback to find Christopher Williams performing a SX act on Diddy. Though she was startled, the lawyer tried to maintain her composure, but the situation left her feeling embarrassed. The next day, Diddy allegedly confronted her about what she had witnessed, displaying a level of aggression that caught her off guard. When she questioned why he hadn't locked the door during such a private moment, he reportedly responded with a chilling assertion of power. "I'll do whatever I want to in my building. It's power. If I can make a man suck my D, I can make people do anything for money. This disturbing encounter highlighted not only the nature of the relationship between Diddy and his artists, but also the culture of fear and manipulation that some allege exists within the music industry. Wright also pointed out that this demo deal for Williams never transitioned into a full album deal, raising questions about the dynamics of power and exploitation within these types of arrangements. There's a dark speculation surrounding Clive Davis's influence in the music industry, particularly regarding how he allegedly taught Diddy to eliminate anyone who posed a threat to his ambitions or those of his artists. This notion extends to claims that Clive orchestrated the demise of Whitney Houston to make way for Brandy's rise to fame. Additionally, it has been suggested that he may have had a hand in the untimely death of Left Eye from TLC. The cutthroat nature of the industry is underscored by these claims, drawing parallels between Clive's alleged tactics and Diddy's relationships with figures like Kim Porter, Biggie Smalls, and even Tupac Shakur. While the exact connection between Clive Davis and Whitney Houston's tragic death remains murky, many believe that external forces, including drug dealers, were to blame for the circumstances surrounding her passing. Whitney died at the Beverly Hilton, and the approaching anniversary of her death serves as a poignant reminder of the loss felt by many. Jaguar Wright has detailed how Whitney was often under the control of powerful figures in the industry, suggesting that she experienced abuse more frequently than anyone realized. Leola Brown, Bobby Brown's sister, has spoken out multiple times, alleging that Whitney suffered physical abuse and that her death was not simply an accident in the bathtub. It followed a pattern of violence. Just 2 days prior to Whitney's death, she reportedly had a heated argument with Clive, with Bobby Christina present during some of that altercation. This confrontation adds a troubling layer to the events leading up to her passing. Ray J, who was with her on that fateful day, has been cited as the last person to see Whitney alive. He allegedly allowed a drug dealer into her room, despite her being sober at the time. This dealer provided her with drugs, and it was Brandy who ultimately discovered Whitney's lifeless body. Jaguar Wright has been quite vocal about her perspectives on the music industry and its darker aspects, particularly regarding figures like Diddy. It's intriguing to consider how she feels secure enough to speak out amidst such a perilous environment. Recently, the news about Al B. sure coming out of his coma has been a relief. I've been in touch with him, and we've exchanged messages, grateful for his recovery. However, when I reflect on the tragic fates of those associated with Uptown Records, I can't help but feel a mix of concern and intrigue. Uptown Records was founded by a small group of influential figures: Andre Harrell, Al B. Sure, Heavy D, and, of course, Puffy. Among them, Kim Porter held the position of Andre's personal assistant and was the longest-serving member of the team, remaining loyal from the start. Now, with Kim tragically deceased, alongside Heavy D and Andre Harrell, the roster has been severely diminished. The only ones left standing are Diddy and Al B. Sure, who himself recently faced death. It raises unsettling questions about the nature of survival and the shadows that loom over their legacies. Heavy D passed away from a heart attack, and Andre Harrell also succumbed to the same fate. Kim's death was ruled a pneumonia-related incident, but initial coroner reports suggested a more sinister undertone, hinting at homicide due to toxins found in her system. Such poisons can mimic symptoms of heart attacks and pneumonia, leading to even more unsettling implications. Just days after Kim's passing, Al B. Shore had a meeting scheduled that I was supposed to attend while I was in Vegas. It's chilling to connect these dots, as the survivors and those lost from Uptown Records all seem to have a shared narrative. Many of them are reportedly writing tell-all books. The fact that so many prominent figures from this groundbreaking label have died raises eyebrows, especially when considering the potential motivations behind their untimely demises. It paints a picture of a cutthroat game, where power is fiercely guarded. Diddy, in particular, seems to take a far more aggressive approach than simply seeking legal recourse. Rather than attempting to silence dissent through lawsuits, he appears willing to eliminate any threats to his empire outright. This situation draws parallels to other artists in the industry, such as Justin Timberlake, who, while not engaging in the same level of peril, reportedly took legal action against Britney Spears over her revelations in her tell-all book. The contrast is striking. While Justin opted for a legal strategy to control the narrative, Diddy seems to engage in a much darker and more dangerous game. Biggie's death was a drive-by shooting, and the circumstances surrounding it raised some eyebrows. It's notable that both Diddy and Clive Davis were reportedly upset with Biggie for leaving Bad Boy Records. One can't help but wonder if that frustration ran so deep that they might have considered taking drastic action. After all, who could be more upset than a mother mourning her son? Or perhaps Diddy and Clive Davis themselves. Clive Davis might have been thinking, "We really need to have a serious conversation with that guy. Here's someone we developed into a star, and now he's taken a multi-million-dollar deal with our competitors. How does that make us look?" Their anger at Biggie for moving on to another label certainly adds a layer of complexity to the tragedy of his death. Turning back to Sean Diddy Combs, he may soon face new developments in his ongoing legal troubles as more individuals come forward with allegations in civil lawsuits. Reports suggest that a grand jury could be convening in the Southern District of New York to consider these new claims. We'll take a closer look at what this could mean for the troubled rapper and break it down with a law professor. The legal saga surrounding Diddy has taken a dramatic turn, with multiple scandals unfolding across various courts. There's speculation that he could be facing additional charges related to serious allegations of misconduct. Recent reports indicate that a New York grand jury may be reviewing fresh evidence in his criminal case. Attorney Ariel Mitchell revealed to NBC News that one of her male clients is set to testify before the grand jury today. A source familiar with the proceedings has confirmed that a man is indeed expected to provide testimony. Grand jury proceedings are typically confidential, so we often don't get a glimpse of what happens behind those closed doors. However, if a superseding indictment is issued, it essentially replaces or adds to the initial charges. This could involve new charges or upgraded ones, and it's a significant development. To recap, the original indictment filed in September detailed a serious pattern of behavior. The defendant is accused of engaging in a consistent and extensive pattern of mistreatment toward women and others. This mistreatment allegedly included verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual elements. As part of this pattern, Combs purportedly manipulated women into participating in highly coordinated activities with male commercial sex workers. There are claims that Combs and individuals acting under his direction arranged for women and commercial sex workers to travel to his location. He allegedly ensured their participation by distributing substances, controlling their careers, leveraging financial support, threatening to withdraw it, and using intimidation and violence. Thus, the racketeering conspiracy charge suggests that Combs was leading or directing a criminal enterprise with a structured support system for his alleged offenses. Additionally, he faces charges related to trafficking individuals for commercial sex acts through coercive means and for transporting people for purposes related to prostitution. In a troubling development, prosecutors allege that Combs leveraged his wealth and influence to orchestrate what are referred to as freak-offs, which essentially involve the arrangement of intimate gatherings featuring male companions, drugs, and the recording of these activities. The accusations suggest that he used various means, including manipulation and coercion, to achieve his objectives. Recently, a significant legal ruling has emerged that could have far-reaching implications. Ariel Mitchell, an attorney representing multiple clients in the series of civil cases against Combs, has been actively involved since the investigation into his activities began following a raid on his homes in March. Among her latest clients is a woman who claims she was assaulted by Combs in 2018. She recounts managing to escape to a neighbor for help and notes that, although she filed a police report, she feels that little came of it. Anjanette Levy, the host of the Crime Fix podcast, interviewed Mitchell a few weeks ago to gather more details about this client's allegations and any supporting evidence. During their conversation, Mitchell mentioned that her client identified a woman named Christina Coram. Those familiar with the unfolding story might recognize Coram's name. She has been implicated in lawsuits as Combs' alleged right-hand associate, purportedly ensuring he had whatever he desired, including arranging for male companions. Coram's role has drawn comparisons to Ghislaine Maxwell, who was closely associated with Jeffrey Epstein. It's important to clarify, however, that Christina Coram has not faced any criminal charges and hasn't been named in the government's filings in this case. In her interview, Mitchell revealed that her client had identified Coram, whom Combs has referred to as KK, highlighting her presence during a significant incident. Initially, the client didn't know Coram's identity, but recognized her after seeing images circulating online. The client noted that Coram made inappropriate comments suggesting she would be very good on the open market, which made her feel uncomfortable. Shortly after, the client began to feel unwell after consuming a drink, leading to a distressing encounter where Combs allegedly assaulted her and instructed another individual to participate while he engaged in a private act. Mitchell remarked that these allegations resonate with the disturbing nature of what has been reported about the so-called freak-offs. She has spoken to other individuals with similar stories, although she has not taken all of them on as clients, emphasizing the importance of due diligence and corroborating evidence before filing complaints. There is a male client of Mitchell's who is set to testify before the grand jury, potentially impacting the trajectory of the ongoing legal battles. It seems likely that if a superseding indictment is issued, it could affect the scheduled trial date of May 5, 2025. New charges would entail reviewing fresh evidence, interviewing additional witnesses, and potentially reassessing defenses as the case evolves. This situation remains fluid, and as more information comes to light, it could have significant ramifications for all parties involved. The situation surrounding Shaw Combs continues to evolve, raising complex legal questions that could significantly impact the timeline of his case. The possibility of a superseding indictment looms, suggesting that if new evidence emerges, the trial date may be delayed. Throughout these proceedings, Combs has consistently asserted his innocence. It is crucial to clarify that he has not yet been deemed criminally responsible for any charges, nor has he faced civil liability for allegations of sexual misconduct or any related offenses. His legal team is poised to present their defense vigorously, with indications that Combs may take the stand himself to share his perspective on the events in question. Currently, Sean "Diddy" Combs is facing severe challenges while incarcerated at the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, which is under federal investigation for its alarming conditions. Reports describe the MDC as being plagued by numerous issues, including excessive heat during the summer and inadequate heating in winter months, with conditions so poor that the toilet water has been known to freeze. The food served to inmates has been labeled inedible, creating a desperate situation for those within its walls. The MDC houses approximately 1,200 individuals, primarily those awaiting trial or serving short sentences. However, it has garnered a reputation for violence, chronic understaffing, and rampant drug smuggling. Earlier this year, New York Representative Dan Goldman called for a formal investigation into the facility after multiple reports highlighted deteriorating conditions that have negatively impacted both inmates and correctional officers. Notably, he cited the deaths of 4 inmates over a 7-month span as evidence of the dire situation. A federal judge even referenced these dreadful conditions when deciding against remanding a defendant to the MDC. In light of these circumstances, the Bureau of Prisons, alongside the Department of Justice's Inspector General's office, has initiated an interagency operation at the MDC. While details about the investigation remain unclear, officials claim that it was already planned and is intended to maintain safety for both employees and inmates. There is speculation that authorities may conduct surprise searches for contraband, which would highlight ongoing security concerns within the prison. Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, has described the specific conditions of his client's confinement, stating, "The food is inedible. It's way too hot in the summer. Sometimes there's no heat at all in the winter, and the toilet water has been known to freeze." He emphasized that the violent atmosphere makes it particularly challenging for someone of Diddy's profile, potentially rendering him a target for conflict. The MDC's tumultuous environment is further exemplified by previous instances of severe negligence. In one notable case, an inmate received a $10 million settlement after suffering from freezing temperatures during a blackout that lasted over a week in 2019. The continual reports of such horrific conditions, coupled with the current investigation, indicate that the MDC is far from providing a safe or humane environment for its inmates. As Diddy navigates this tumultuous period, he remains in a special housing unit where he is confined to his cell for approximately 23 hours a day due to safety concerns. His ongoing struggle with the legal system is compounded by the alarming conditions at the MDC, leaving many to wonder how this situation will impact his case and the future of the facility itself. What do you think? Comment down below to let us know. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.